want to override a command. And sometimes you want to do it for fun. Other times you just wonder when was the last update. So you can improvise a way to do the first. This is actually very simple. And it's tempting to think that you know the right way to do it, but I would recommend that you do it the more Unix way to get this ability, where you use sudo first, but you can still do it. So how do you get to it? Well, this is how you get it. By the way, Git works normally, except good. So, what do you need to do it? Where do you get started? This is gonna be the topic for today. So you wanna grab a terminal, and I don't know if you're in a remote machine or if you have Linux at home, maybe Mac at home. We can give it a shot together. You're going to have to reboot the machine a few times, so maybe you would want to put the video on a device like a phone, have it next to the computer, and the first thing you would want to do is get the extra directory. And if you want it for the local user, if you don't have worries like this one, if you cannot use sudo to begin with, if you are, if you are in a remote machine and someone else has root privileges and you don't, then things become a little simpler. You would want to edit profile.d and add inside of the profile.d directory another file like bin overrides.shell. However, if you want to do it system-wide, you want it to be... First of all, let's become a super user. Because normally I don't have access to that file. You want etc. etc is the configuration for the whole system instead of home.config, and then profile.d, and there are already files here, so you could want another one. Now I already have it. You'll have to add it yourself. And this will get sourced by a shell on boot up. It won't get sourced when you open a new terminal. It won't get sourced even if you open a new login session, I think. I don't know what exactly that is, but if you open Tmax, it doesn't get sourced again, I think. Yeah. I'm so confused as to what happens when you open Tmax. But anyway, let's go through it a little by little. So, first of all, by the Unix philosophy, if you want the computer to be able to understand a new phrase, you don't want a program that has these phrases and the ability to understand them. You don't want turn on and turn off to be phrases that a program understands. If you want a program called turn on, a program called turn off, and you want them to act like commands. So they print you the output, and so on, and then you have this shell, a shell over the binaries, and the binaries are all put inside of /bin or some other directory which also acts like a directory that you put executables inside of. And these have some hierarchy, so nothing special. Export, right now path, what is path like? If I echo path, and I'm going to hit bang twice, shift 1, then S, age, and enter, and let me substitute all of the colons for new lines globally. This is the path. For me right now it already has the bin overrides, but for you it won't have them. To have them on reboot, in the path variable, you want to add this file and say export path. You want to add bin overrides. No. User bin overrides. You don't want that to be the only thing though. You would want to append all of the other ones. So this is the most tempting way to do it. However, think about it. What if path is empty? And this is not too odd. Path can be empty. And if it's empty, then you don't want the colon. If it's empty, then you don't want the colon. How do you do this? Well, here's one way to do it. If the path exists, then colon and path. Otherwise, nothing. And now you can go and try it out. You may want to reboot and try going like echo path, and on reboot it should also have the overrides for you. So what's the next way to test it? Well, the next way to test it would be to make that directory. It exists for me. So let me rename it so that let's say I disable it this way. Move bin overrides. Before video bin overrides 2. Flag v verbose. I interactive in case something is about to go wrong. If something is about to be overridden, inform me. Nothing went wrong. We got the verbose output. And I'm going to make a directory called bin overrides inside of /user. Please be verbose. The equivalent you would want to do if you don't have root access, you may wanna go like make directory home dot local. This looks fine to me, and put that inside of the like thing. So next up, I would like the normal user to be able to change that directory as well. So I would, let's say the root and the normal user belong to a group that has this ability. They are overriders. So there is this group, the overrider group, and these two people inside of it, and whoever is inside of it is allowed to touch this directory. Well, group add where the users are my user. My user here is called Alina. You will want to check your own one. I'm not sure how you check the user. Right. Let me take a look at something. I'm pretty sure this is not how you do it, but you can like, I don't know. Group add where the users are Alina and root overrider. I have run this command, so I'm not going to run it. Now if you haven't, you would want to run it, be careful, it's not going to take effect until you reboot. You can do all of this at once and then reboot just once, but you can do it and then reboot and try it out. How do you try it out? Well, groups. The root has two groups, the group called root and the group called overrider. If I open a new terminal, oh my god, it has a bunch of groups. Anyway, let me remember, yeah. I would like to change group to overrider for bin overrides, because it's somewhere normally only the root user can change things for that reason. For that reason itself. And now, goodness. Bin overrides is for the group overrider. It's made by the user root and it belongs to the group of overrider. Let me say it a little better actually. It's a directory read, write, execute for root, read, no write but execute for the overrider, read, don't write but execute for everybody else. If you want more people to be able to touch it, you add that group. You add them to the group. So, what do I want? I'm sure I wanted something. My mind just stops. I've been tired lately. Yeah, you would want the overrider to have full access, not read and execute. You would want everybody else to have no access at all. So, change, I'm not sure what mod means. Modifiers. The short way is 0770. 7 in binary is 111. You can guess the rest of the story. The first 0 means I'm going to write it as octal. But you can also do it the more friendly way. chmod. The user will have exactly read, write, execute. There are two more, by the way. If I hit tab for auto-completion in ZSH, it's sticky, so you can't delete it. And something about set UID ZID, I don't understand that. But yeah, that exists and it's not written here. So you have to watch out, maybe someone pranks you. If it's a remote machine, I guess. Bin overrides. Then you would want the group to have the same thing, and the others to have nothing. That's what you want to see. So now you don't need to be a root user anymore. If you haven't rebooted, you may want to reboot. And if the normal user reboot here, if the normal user has the overrider group, then he has access here, and therefore here you go. And let's go. And let's make one. Why not make git? Since bin overrides has priority, bin overrides is here, while normal git is in user bin. I'm not sure where that is. User bin, user bin, user bin, there it is. This is after. So this has priority. And so it's gonna override git, and let's try it out. I think you will need a new session here, actually. So let me open a new terminal. And git. Nope. Why not? Oh yes. You want to be executable. And now let's write. And I've overridden it. So how do you do it now? Be careful. It's very easy to make a fork bomb by accident, so... Yeah, NeoVim doesn't like the fact that I broke git for it. It uses git to give me like signs on the side. Anyway. This will make it act exactly. In fact, this will make it act exactly like nothing ever happened. Let's try it out. Okay, good. And no, I made the fork bomb. Good thing that I tried it. I hit Control C to get out of. Now I'm going to change it a little. You want to specify exactly what you need, otherwise it calls itself. Git is itself, it calls itself. Which calls itself, which calls itself, which calls itself. Oh no. 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 Oh no. I'm not sure what happens. How do you do this? Capital L. Neovim. Okay. Can I like... Oh, what? How do I terminate? I don't know how to use this thing. Let me get this thing out of the way. That doesn't help. Give me 2 minutes. Terminate. Shit. Well. What did they do last? Looks safe to me. Let's go on. If good is the first argument, then echo git out of here, else execute. Fine. For Pac-Man, what I did was, I don't remember, let me... Yeah? Yeah. I made my own directory. That's a bit cursed, but I did it anyway. Etsy overrides. So that's about it. I hope that inspires you. You can give it a shot as well. If any of this feels overwhelming, you don't need to do it, it's okay. It's just a little way to familiarize yourself a little more with your own machine, and perhaps hook something before or after something else. Perhaps do a whole bunch of things. Perhaps have a directory with all of the pre-hooks for some application. Actually, you really don't want that. Or maybe you have an override directory where you override everything, and in some systematic way you give everything a pre-hook or everything a post-hook. You probably don't want that to happen, but you could do that. The way you would do that, by the way, would be to symlink everything to it. You make one executable, you symlink it with symlinks that have names of already existing executables, all of it inside of bin overrides, and then you can check the zero variable and see who it was called as. And that's about it. Good journey.